In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, Paul says that unless we have charity, we become as a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And if you think about what that imagery is, if you're a tinkling cymbal, cymbals are supposed to crash. They have great power in an orchestra. And if we don't have charity, we lose all of our power. Paul then goes through this list of things. He says in verse 2, and though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And he says, and though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and I have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Why did Paul go out of his way to point out what might have the appearance of good works, and then say, if there is no charity, then those things are worth nothing, and neither is the person who does them? Charity is the pure love of Christ. It is the type of love that Christ has for all of us. Jesus is the apex of people. He is God because he is the apex, and he has perfectly figured out and lived and emulated these things for us without fail. When we seek to be his servants, we seek to emulate him in all things, to do what he did, to be disciplined as his disciples after he is. Paul speaks about charity in 1 Corinthians 13, not so much so that you have a roadmap of how to gain charity yourself, although you can't help but learn some of those things if you read this, but much more importantly, so that you can recognize it when it's in someone else. The things that he goes through here are what you might call the tokens and signs of a true messenger of God, someone possessed by the same love and motive as God, someone who's trying with all their might to fulfill God's purpose in as much as they understand it. So I'm going to go through these verses and I'm going to talk about what each of these things means from the lens of how you can recognize it and why he might have said that and why it's important. So in verse 4 of 1 Corinthians 13, it says, charity suffereth long and is kind. He starts off with a real big description that suffereth long and is kind is the true description of what it actually means to love somebody. Long suffering, not a little bit of suffering. It's a large amount of suffering for as great a length as possible. The willingness of Jesus to suffer for us was an infinitely long suffering. It's an infinite atonement that he made, and he was willing to hang there on the cross for as long as it took and to suffer all that needed to be suffered in order to pay the price, to be able to win the conditions to forgive us of our sins. Is kind is the direction of the motive of charity. When you are kind to somebody, it means that you seek their benefit above your own. Kindness is not a description of what methods you employ to benefit somebody. Kindness in our current society is often confused with niceness, which has sort of a fake softness about it, a dishonest attempt to avoid hurt. But kindness doesn't avoid hurting if it's necessary. You wouldn't call a surgeon who refused to cut out some sort of gangrenous growth in you kind if he said that I just don't want to hurt you with this scalpel. It brings into mind this. I have a son who, when he was young, thought it was really funny to run out into the street. And we tried everything to convince this kid not to do that. We put him in timeout, talked to him sternly, took away his toys. He thought it was so funny. Guess what? I spanked that kid's butt until he stopped doing it, because it was much kinder to have him run, or to have him not run into the street where he might get hit by a car and die, than it was for his butt to hurt for a bit. But I did that because of my love for him. So charity suffers long and is kind. It suffers as much as it can for the benefit of other people. Charity envieth not, it vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up. These are all descriptions of the direction of motive. Charity is not about seeking its own benefit or gaining its own glory, self-aggrandizing. A person who is possessed of charity does not seek those things. When you encounter someone who is trying to help you, don't think about the way it makes you feel when they talk to you, if they're telling you some hard truths. Put the offense on the shelf for a minute and ask yourself why they are doing these things. Have you ever met a person who would tell you what you needed to hear, even if it meant that you might stop giving them the benefits that you usually have in a friendship? Have you ever met a friend willing to be so honest with you that they'd risk your friendship over it? Such a friend is exceedingly rare. It vaunteth not itself. It doesn't boast untruthfully of how good it is. It's not puffed up. It doesn't have to expand beyond what is true. It's not performative. These people aren't performative. They're not trying to impress you. They're not trying to convince you of their love. They're trying to help you. That's the token that they're trying to show you. Verse 5 starts with, doth not behave itself unseemly. This is an exceptionally important one. This is not an instruction on how to act yourself if you have charity. It is not saying to behave yourself. It's saying not to judge those who act in a way that seems inappropriate to you when their motive is charity. People possessed by charity will do all kinds of things that offend and shock and are unexpected. When the Lord cleared the temple with a whip, he was displaying charity. People who saw that, who did not know his motive and immediately judged him, would think that he was behaving unseemly. But those that are possessed of charity do not behave unseemly. What they are doing is the truth, and it's for the highest truth. And so do not immediately dismiss someone because how they're acting offends your sensibilities. This is the same reason why the Lord gave the commandment to love your enemies, so that you did not accidentally count someone an enemy who had nothing but your best interest at heart. Verse 5 continues, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, and thinketh no evil. The motive of someone with charity is not their own benefit. It's the person that they're trying to help. Honestly, it's the world. They're trying to help the world for the greatest benefit of the world. And those acts are typically won on an individual basis. Almost every time someone presents you with new truth, the common response will be of the natural man to get angry and upset. Verse 5 continues, is not easily provoked and thinketh no evil. People who have charity are slow to anger. They will be patient with you in your poor response to them. They will continue trying to persuade you to help you. They'll seem more intense than you otherwise thought someone should be. You have to do your very best to be able to accept people who have this motive for you and realize that they're trying their best to turn to you the other cheek or to give you their cloak as well as their coat. Thinketh no evil means they don't keep score. They forgive immediately. If you want to know someone who has the true tokens and signs of a messenger, get in a fight with them and then apologize and see what they do. They already forgive you immediately. Have you ever seen anybody who you could be at odds with that as soon as you ask their forgiveness, it was as if it never happened? Those things are exceptionally rare. Verse 6 continues, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth. What does it mean to rejoice in iniquity? Iniquity is injustice. Those that are possessed of charity help the oppressed, right wrongs that they see, help others who have been wronged receive recompense and redress. Those who have charity do not want to be the source of injustice, whether it benefits them or not. But they rejoice in the truth, both in the giving of it and in the receiving of it. If a true messenger comes to you and tells you the truth, and then you see that you have something else that's even better than what they gave you, and you respond in kind with your own argument, those that are possessed of charity adopt the positions of those with greater understandings, and they will be so grateful because they're not seeking their own, but they rejoice in the truth no matter where it comes from. They become like truth vacuums, taking as much of it as they can find. Verse 7 says, beareth all things. Why is charity the source of being able to bear all things? It truly is the only thing that cannot be overcome. You cannot take away the pure love of Christ from someone who has it. Because no matter how much you try to hurt them, how much they suffer, how much they undergo, whatever tries to overcome them, they can bear all things because they do it for you. They do it for your benefit, and they do it for the benefit of the Lord that they love. Why does the next thing is believeth all things? What does it mean that charity believeth all things? This is a attitude of receipt of the truth. When someone comes and gives you a hard message, do you turn away from it or do you believe it? Do you grow to become like the messenger? True messengers have faith above that which you have. That's why they're coming to you, to help you become like they are, to help increase your faith. They believe in things over and above and with more intensity than you currently do. Raise yourself up to their level when you find someone like that. Those that have charity hope or hopeth all things. What is it that they're hoping for? They're hoping that even though the odds are overwhelmingly against them in terms of helping someone, in terms of the people they're trying to help receiving what they are giving, they always hold out hope that just a little bit more suffering on their behalf will do some good. And they pay enormous prices for the smallest improvements. Enormous prices, years and years and years, just for the smallest movement in the right direction. This again in the pattern of the Lord. They do not lose hope that something can be done. As long as there's time and as long as we're alive, they will continue to try to help you until you cut yourself off from them. It says next, endureth all things. There is no thing that someone possessed by charity cannot endure. There is no truth they cannot bear. There is no burden that they will not walk with. They'll walk as hard and as long as they can in order to help somebody else. Charity truly is a visceral experience. It's quite common when people are praying for others to sort of kneel down and just sort of ask God to help somebody with a burden that they have or to take it away or to make it all better. This is an exceptionally terrible prayer. Think about what it really is. It's just a wish list of like, hey, God, please make this person's problem go away. Okay, thanks, bye. If you really want to pray with power for other people, you have to be willing to suffer with things that they're suffering yourself. The prayer has to be something closer to, Lord, this person is really suffering. I don't know what your will is necessarily in their suffering, but I can see that it's really, really hard for them. And if there's any way that we can find relief and help them, I'll do anything I can to help them, up to and including suffering in their place. So please give me the burden that they have so that they don't have to walk with it anymore. And if you can actually pray that in true sincerity, that's the kind of prayer that actually moves heaven. Verse 8 finishes, charity never faileth. And it truly is the one thing that cannot be overcome, the true love of Jesus Christ. It is the motive and power by which he did all that he did. The reasons that he came back down from heaven to earth and gave up what he had before he came here to sacrifice himself so that we can actually see more of what the Father is like. It can't be overcome. I hope you can feel the rarity of finding this type of thing, of finding someone who truly is possessed of charity. These individuals are extremely rare. Maybe you can think of a parent who you think loves you this way. And relationships that you have with people that you love, that you're biologically related to or that you're married to, those are the training wheels. Because it's easier to love a son or a daughter than it is a perfect stranger. But you're supposed to love them all the same. Just like it's easier to love a perfect stranger than it is to love a known enemy. And yet the Lord had love for people no matter what they thought about him. He still tried to help and did what he could. In my life, I've been very blessed to get to know a person like this. Many of you might know my friend Rob Smith. He has a YouTube channel called Upward Thought and a charity called upwardthought.org, or the Upward Thought Foundation, where he puts out a lot of content, writes a lot of books, important books, makes videos, and spends his time doing his best to help people come closer to Christ than they otherwise could. I've spent many hours studying the things that he's written and done. And I've spent many, many hours talking to him in person. We've become good friends over the past couple of years. I know him to be a man of integrity. Recently, Rob's had some hard times with the government. He made a video that I'll link in the description of this video, where the IRS busted down his door with a bunch of federal agents and accused him of things. I don't know the fullness of the accusations. I don't even think Rob knows the fullness of those things. But what I do know is that I have hundreds and hundreds of hours of content and interactions with a person to give me every reason to believe that those things are being done in a great and unjust way. And so, inasmuch as you can listen to a video like this and think about charity and think about what it's like to suffer with people, I would first ask that you help anybody that you can help that's in your life that you know you have responsibility for and that you can help up to your means. But if you have a little extra to give, I'd ask that you consider helping out my friend Rob. He has a donation page on his website, upwardthought.org. And any little bit would help, as he's going to go through a pretty complicated legal battle, unless something miraculously changes. So I ask you from the bottom of my heart to help my friend, if you have the means to. And if you don't, I ask that you pray and ask for help in that way. And I know I'll do both.